Hi, everyone. Teresa Aker here, and you're watching Success Diaries. It's my pleasure today to bring you Zerina. She's a life coach, and we're thrilled to hear from you today, Zerina. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We actually have a mutual friend in Brad Walsh, and he actually introduced us, and I'm thrilled to have you on the show today. So let's talk about what you do. How are you going to help our viewers?
Yeah, so I am a life coach and I coach women through life, which is a very big role, but mainly it's high achieving women who are feeling stuck, lost, confused. So there is a transition period in their life, and they're so used to things going well and smoothly, of course, being a high achiever. And then there's this phase where they'll come up to me and we'll talk about tools and strategies and really deep dive into why they're feeling lost, stuck, or confused. And through my own personal journey, I went through several of these and really got into coaching a couple of years ago and launched my own coaching business to help women go through a lot of things that I personally went through. And I wish I had that, wisdom and support to help save a lot of time to get to clarity.
That's great. So did you take courses as a life coach?
I did, yes, yes. So I got certified. I do a lot of research. I'm currently also finishing a brain coach certificate. Not to change anything on what I do, is just to bring in more science into how our mind works and how our subconscious mind works. So I'm always getting, the most recent and up to date context with coaching. I think, it really helps speak to the right audience, especially if you're a high achiever. And I'm someone who knows that results are important. Science is important. I think, you can only be empowering, but also you got to back it up with the right context.
I agree with that. And I think there's a huge demand right now, especially as our whole, really the whole economy has changed. The way we do business has changed. There's a lot of course, AI and different ways of doing business and reaching out. And I think it might actually become a bit overwhelming. It's not that someone isn't able to do it. They just may not know where to start or what direction. Would that be fair, Serena?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Even me as a life coach, I can get overwhelmed by the level of context there is out there. And it's like, okay, what do I bring in? And I'm really big on experiences versus theory. So there's
I'm
certain theories, yeah, that I'll bring in that I know have been proven scientifically or through a various range of people's experience. But yeah, it is extremely overwhelming. And that's why, typically, when I have that first session with a client, we call it the life strategy talk. They're overconsumed with so much like, oh my, this person thinks I'm going through this and and it's
yeah.
like, let's just stop everything. Let's clear the narrative. Let's focus on what's going on. And this is where I feel very confident because I bring in the best practices that have been so vetted, and we start from there, and it helps, especially when you're going through a period of tough time, to quiet the noise.
I think there's when people go through a hard time, and it's just my opinion, but I see it a lot, and I've certainly been through my own fair share of things. We go through an emotional phase where we may not have before. Now all of a sudden emotion kicks in. We worry, we have that deep feeling of uh, concern that we're not
Yeah.
quite sure what to do next. Is that the sort of thing you deal with, or are you basically going on just the movement of the business?
That is it. That is it. There's a lot of uncertainty. There
Yeah.
is confusion. There is loss of identity. And when I say identity, is for the most part, we know who we are and what we want to portray. However, I do a lot of work on getting clients from the self-awareness, which is kind of like the first phase. This is like my mastery to self-discovery. I have a lot of clients who have a self-awareness, like something is off. Something's not working the way that it's working. I don't like I don't like to use emotion a lot. I like to use purpose because I feel like if we're going after emotion, it's going to be this ever never-ending cycle of unsatisfaction.
Yeah.
Whereas for your purpose, it's something we can work towards and actually gives you greater fulfillment. So they're going through this uncertainty, they're confused, they're changing, there are things that don't make them happy, things that made them happy before, sorry, don't make them happy anymore. And it's bringing them from the self-awareness to the self-identity step. So we're leveling up and really understanding what are our values, how is our mindset right now working, what can we do to improve it, how can we help do some of that shift on your mind to help you get to where you need to get to. So there's a lot of unlearning. There's a lot of like messiness, but we go through it together, and it's this phased out approach that helps you get from this uncertainty path to
Yeah.
a more clear path with greater purpose. So, I've been through it, and I know the struggle, I know the pain, and I can validate every ounce of like fear, ego, even ego, fear, ego, unpleasantness, and we go through it together, and it's getting you on the right path of the next phase in your life.
Well said. Well done. Now, another thought I had, because I like coaches and I like definitely, I do some motivational speaking myself. And one of the big things, Arena, they hit a wall, basically, if you will, a wall. So here's a super achiever comes along and bam, all of a sudden there's a stop in there. And as you said, you can deal with the emotional side and so forth. But I would think also the confidence side kind of goes down even though there's always achieved when things get when everything used to work one way and now it doesn't and they kind of just can't seem to get past that. Is that where you
Mhm.
would come in and they would be able to take your course and perhaps look at that your coaching?
Yeah, and it's so interesting. So having so much experience in the corporate world, being an executive, everyone thought that I would go into coaching as an executive coach. It makes sense. I did not want to do that. I see so much beauty in life, and I think they're interconnected, your personal life and your professional life. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because it depends. Each client has an area in their life that they're struggling with. Some have both. Some can be both professionally and personally.
Sure.
The ones that are struggling in both, they're the ones that hit that wall versus the ones that are maybe struggling only personally or only professionally. They're not necessarily hitting a wall. They're just so, a lot of them are burnt out. A lot of them are tired. A lot of them don't know how to think for themselves anymore to make that change. They're exhausted. So it really is, and that's why I'm really big on one-on-one sessions. It is an investment, which I completely understand. It's an investment. It's not something everyone can do. But your journey will have similar phases, but it'll be so different.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I'm always going in so open-minded with the human experience. So even though, you're either hitting a wall or you're unclear or you just like are so burnt out you can't think, I'm always looking for, okay, where can I step in to support them? It's not a linear process for each client. Every client is different, but there are similarities to the path to getting them to the other side that I think is really unique for my professional services, because I get to put a lot of emphasis on what those phases look like and how well are they being received by clients, and more importantly, what are the results like. So it's been interesting, but there are a few that will hit that wall and like, everything is kind of going sideways, and then they have this old identity of being this high achiever to now, oh my God, this is where I am in life. I'm restarting everything. Everyone around me is doing A, B, C. There is that comparison happening. How do I get past that? And, those are some of the biggest transformations that I get to work with those specific clients.
Do you do all online or do you go to companies as well?
So I do online coaching mainly for my one-on-one sessions. I have a few clients. I'm based out of Toronto. I have a few clients in Toronto. A lot of them are in North America, so we do virtual sessions. And then for my corporate workshops, those are done in person.
Oh, very good. Okay, good. So you're out of Canada, obviously. Do you travel to other countries as well or just stay here?
Not yet. I mean, I travel for pleasure, but not. I haven't done anything to travel yet. Besides, if I go in the States, I will make certain stops to see
Sure.
certain clients in person. Yeah.
So from there, when you're doing your coaching and you do it online, you do groups or one-on-one? What is your
One-on-one,
one-on-one?
one-on-one. Yeah,
Okay.
one-on-one.
I would
Yeah.
think that's probably the best too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have a background in law and working in corporate. One thing I carried over is this confidentiality piece to me is so important. So a lot of my one-on-ones I find, given, the integrity of my business and given how important that is for me as a coach and for clients, they're more intimate. And I've tried to even see if in person or virtual shifts some of the things. And I find clients when they get that one-on-one session, it's just more intimate. We can go into more depth. I can really help and do what I do best as a life coach, get some of the rawness from them, get some clarity from them. So seems to be working. I'm not changing it yet. And I love that one-on-one session and experience with clients.
Oh, that's good. That's really good, Zarina. You're very pleasant too, and I'm sure that people would be warm and happy to be in with you and talking to you. I know you're successful and your background is successful, so that's great. And you
Thank
came
you.
highly recommended to our show, so thank you.
Oh, I
You-
appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Can you give us perhaps just a couple of tips for someone that might be thinking about, having a little bit of struggle or not quite sure? Was there anything you could give us today that would help them out?
Yeah, I think there's usually two, nothing is an easy fix in life, right? And the one thing that I'm really big on is I don't like this whole like toxic positive um advice that's out there. And the reality is life is tough sometimes, and you're going to go through challenges and you're going to go through good times. So there's two tips that I like to give that I find are helpful, even if you're implementing it short term. But the number one is clarity comes from engagement, not thought. And that's a big one. I think a lot of us, especially women, we like to overthink things, and there is this false sense of control or we're doing something about something. Whereas I'm always stepping in, and from experience, from what I've seen, clarity comes from experience. It comes from exploration. So you can think until 2, 3 in the morning. You're not helping yourself. Get some rest, go out there and experience, and that will get you that aha moment to clarity. So, whatever you're dealing with, whatever struggle you're dealing with, and it's not a linear process. For some of us, it takes more time. For some of us, it's quicker. It's the human experience. It's if you're feeling unclear or a little bit lost or stuck, just know, put yourself in scenarios where you can actually experience things, and that's going to get you closer to clarity versus you thinking, analyzing, reading all the theory out there. That's actually not going to get you to clarity. So that's probably a number one advice I would give to a lot of women who are overthinkers or who are worriers or anxious. It's giving them that like short pathway that actually is more fun and will get them to that clarity quicker. Another, oh, sorry, I don't know if you had a
I
question.
did. I actually did. I wanted to just interject there because I know women are the worriers usually. I know there's men that do too, but usually women are. Let's say there, and I've done this myself. So you're ruminating, and in the middle of the night, you can't seem to settle down because you're thinking about all things. Do you recommend things like, deep breathing, meditation in your courses or in your one-on-one coaching? Is that sort of part of it or no?
There are tools like that, like deep breathing, 3 really deep
Sure.
breaths to help you get out of it. I find if you're in a state of just constantly replaying and very anxious, you have not had the conversation that you need to have with someone who is professional, whether it's a therapist, a coach, or a trusted person in your circle. It's
Sure.
all being stuck in your head. So you have not released or spoken to someone in your environment who can help you maybe logically seek things out versus remaining in this heightened state of emotion in your nervous system. So, yes, there are breathing techniques that you can do. There are like these short term, like I guess even like meditation can help, but the idea here is to get away from some of these short term fixes and work and go into the messiness and get deep and work through some of these challenges. So if you're constantly rethinking things, it's because your brain has wired that as a security, as a comfort level. But if you actually do some unlearning and understand that that is your kind of protection safety that's self-sabotaging you, we can work on implementing new frameworks, and you
Oh,
can do different things that are a little bit different, right? So, but I do have some of those techniques that I talk and one without overcomplicating things, but one part of change is somatic. So it's using your body that really helps certain people. And I think breathing is actually very proven to help at least calm the nervous system, and taking 3 very deep breaths really helps. But you need support. You need a support system,
I agree with that.
you
Thank you
know?
for clarifying that. I just wonder. So your second part of your tip, because I kind of
Yeah.
interrupted.
No, no worries. Second one is this concept I introduced. It's called observe versus absorb. So a lot of times again, this is all happening subconsciously. A lot of times we're absorbing things quickly. We're busy, we're absorbing emotions, and sometimes we're absorbing drama that is not ours, and we're just constantly absorbing so much every day. And I'm really big on being intentional. And sometimes you have to remind yourself daily. I mean, I still do it as a coach, and I have all the skills. I still remind myself. It's get into a mindset where you're observing more. So you're not as emotionally attached. Your goal to yourself is observe the situation, right? And then instead of absorbing, right? The moment you start absorbing, that's another area where your nervous system can get, overwhelmed, and you can make
Sure.
decisions that are just not in alignment with who you are. So, let's say you go to work, it's like, today I'm going to go into an observant mindset. I'm not going to absorb what my colleagues are doing or what people are doing. Or let's say you have to have a difficult conversation with a friend, a partner. It's I'm going to observe. I'm not going to absorb their emotions. I'm going to observe. And really, the key here is it makes you be calmer. You become a better communicator, and you have this preconceived idea in your head that you're an observer. You're not going to absorb this, and you really become more resilient and clear in your communication. And I find this tool especially is really helpful for women, especially if you've got a lot going on and you're dealing with a lot. It's a reminder to step back, be an observant, and actually you'll make better decisions and attract more opportunities.
That's excellent advice. Thank you. And I think we've all done that too, realize we're just too emotional, we're too involved, and you kind of take a step back and take a break from that and think, okay, let me just see what's going on here from this side. Yeah, I think, and
Mhm.
even as parents, we do it with our children. We kind of step out of their emotion because we have to, or we be with them and step out. That's very good advice. Thank you. Thank you, Zarina. So now I want to talk about you and your one-on-one time and your training. Where can people come and reach out to you?
Yeah, so on my website, I actually have a list of services that I offer, and then there's a contact section there. If you reach out to me there, we can set up a call and have a 30-minute complimentary discovery call, and just see if a life coach is something that would work for you, or if our conversations align. I think it's so important for a client to seek out a coach or therapist or whatever professional services that aligns with what they want and where they want to get to. But you can find me at zerinalifecoach.com. I also can be reached on Instagram at Zerina Life Coach. So those are typically 2 areas that you can get to me pretty quick.
And I'll make sure though you'll get that to me and then we can put that in the description, okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Zarina, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself going?
Oh, wow. Professionally,
Yeah, where do you
definitely
see yourself?
expanding. Yeah, definitely expanding my coaching content. I think that's really big for me. Helping, women one-on-one continues to be the path forward for me. And I would love to have my own podcast show. So I think I've had the privilege of being on so many shows, and I've loved it. I think being a guest is awesome because we don't get to do all the work behind the scenes, Teresa, that you guys get to
Exactly.
do. But I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to have one where we talk about, transitions and talk about real stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really against fluff. I think being resilient is key and being forward thinking is key, but a lot of like the advice out there sometimes that I see is fluff and I'm like, but that's not the human experience. I want like real raw, like how do we get from this phase to this, or like how do we overcome a challenging emotion as a woman depending on what certain area you are in life. So I'm, thinking through how I can do that in my own podcast where we can talk about difficult things, but frame it in a way that's resilient and actually you move forward with the right tools and techniques. So still thinking about it, but in 5 years, I should have that up and running.
Well, I'll tell you what, well, first, we've had a great time today. Would you like to come back and do another episode with us?
I'd love to.
That'd be
Yes,
great.
thank
And I'm
you.
thinking when you do your podcast, we can have you back when you're ready and we'll get you all launched.
Oh, I love that. That's a good
Yeah.
incentive. So thank you.
I'm all about supporting others and seeing you succeed, and that matters. And what you're doing is because you've taken the training and you're really interested in people, and I can tell you really are wanting to help people, and you gave us some great tips today. I really am enthusiastic about seeing your future. I think you've got a lot going ahead of you, and 5 years from now, I can see you doing your own show and all of that, no problem. So happy
Oh,
to
thank
support
you.
that.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Appreciate it.
So Zerina, in the beginning, your name's a little longer, so I wanted you to say your full name so that I don't mess it up on you. So
Yeah,
what's your
no,
name?
no worries. So it's Zerina Derveni.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
my full name.
Thank you. And then we're going to have you on all the social medias. We'll make sure we have that in the description. So I appreciate that. And so thank you today for joining us, Zerina. You were wonderful, and I appreciate all your tips today and your thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. And everyone, go over to Zarina's. I'll have all her social media on here. Be able to go to her webpage. I'll make sure that's here for you. And do have a consultation with her. She might be able to help you out there. And I think, in this day and age, these are the very people we're looking for. So thank you again, Zarina. And to everyone else, this is Teresa Aker. You're watching Success Diaries. Do subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate that. I hope you're all having a great day. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.